All right, Friday night, getting ready for Niners and Lions. It's the Krueger Show, back with you. Long day at Costco. A lot of streaming going on today. Lots and lots and lots of Niner talk. Welcome to the Krueger Show, brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Get the brisket chili, pulled pork, barbecue chicken. Oh, it's all good. But when it goes, it goes. So check them out in Corte Madera and in Emeryville. Pig in a Pickle. You will not be disappointed. And we're also brought to you by Marin Auto Glass. You shatter a windshield, you need someone to take care of your windshield for you. Marin Auto Glass will help you out. 415-883-3030, marinautoglass.com on the web. And thanks to Saeed for being a sponsor of the Krueger Show as well. And Underdog Fantasy. Don't forget Underdog Fantasy. Check that link in the description. Use the promo code Krug, and they will match you up to your first $100. And welcome to the Krueger Show. It's Coach Yak in the house. And, man, with the playoffs on the line, I thought, who do we want to talk to on a Friday night? And I'm thinking, Coach Yak would be perfect. So we go across the country for Coach Yak. Coach, thank you very much for joining us. How you feeling about Niners Lions Sunday at Levi's?
Thanks for having me. I'm confident. I think it's gonna, Detroit's gonna come in and sell out on stopping the run. So
they're third. They give up 3.3 on first down, and the Niners, or do the Niners run it with McCaffrey on first down against the number one run D on first down in the league? That's kind of the first question of the game plan for Kyle Shanahan. What's he going to do?
Right. It's going to definitely be tough. Detroit's a physical team. I mean, they're not good at tackling, especially in the second and third levels. But I think Kyle's going to exploit the linebackers like he normally does. So I think we're going to see a big game from Kittle. I think he's going to do really well. He's going to try and get a lot of slants going over the middle too with Ayuk. You're going to see Debo motion a lot. You're going to see McCaffrey coming out of the backfield catching passes as well. So it's going to come down to if Detroit can't. They're not going to fully stop the Niners run game. But if they can't slow them down, then I can see the Niners putting up, mid to upper 30s in this game. It's I think Brock's going to do really well. Obviously, weather conditions did play a factor in the last week. He was off. It reminded me his game like Cleveland. He's off target, wet weather, just didn't look good at all. But with the season on the line, he needed, he did what he had to do and got the team go down the field and get McCaffrey into the end zone. So we'll see how things go this week here. I think he's going to have a good rebound week here. And defensive wise, I think Detroit's going to be able to move the ball on us, and their success is going to start with the run game. You got two backs that can really run the ball, one to get to the edge, and Montgomery, obviously he's going to pound between the tackles. So they got two backs that can get the run game going. I think what's going to happen in that when I saw the ball is, and I DM'd Lenore earlier in the week too. I said, this is going to be your biggest matchup to date. You got St. Brown, right, who's in the slot nearly 50% of the time. What I think is going to happen, I think they're going to push him out wide, and Ward will cover him, when he's obviously not lined up in the slot. And they're going to try and get their tight end on him, on Lenore. If Detroit does,
Demo Lenore, Coach.
I mean, not personally. Do I talk to him every week? Yes, multiple times every week. Yes, but
he's really, maybe more than almost anybody on the team, risen his game. He's taken his game up several pegs. His strength, Absolutely. His tackling, his hitting, his coverage. He's getting more dominant, seems like, every time out.
Well, And this is dating back to last year with Demo. If you watched him, I watched him. I watch players' tendencies. I watch their body, just the way they carry themselves. You know what I'm saying? I watch everything. And when I watched Demo last year, he was always by Jimmy Ward, okay, on the sideline. He was always by his side, picking his brain. On the field, you could tell he was, he was always aggressive, but you could tell he wasn't confident. You seen him looking in late, getting calls. You know what I'm saying? The calls, he just, you could tell he was out of place at times. And, he struggled the first 3 quarters of the season, and then as we all saw last year in the playoffs, he really did really well. And that snowballed into the offseason, had the confidence. You could see him. He was very vocal in the offseason and just talking and how he's going to do things. And that just snowballed into the season here. And he's been great. And like I told him, I said, look, man, you're doing great right now. And I said, Kyle views you just like he did with K'Wan Williams. Okay. You're a physical slot. You're in the slot. You're physical. You can stop the run. You can cover really well. But the difference is you can play the outside. And actually, you can play the outside better than you can play inside. Okay. And, he's told me some things that I don't want to put on the air, but just basically what he prefers and whatnot. And I just told him, I was like, listen, man, when, you got 1 more year on this contract here and, do not let them pay you slot corner money. Don't let them do that to you because they will. They'll try. Like, hey, you can tell the difference between an outside corner pay scale.
The irony of that is that what the slot corner, even, and people want that premier guy on the outside who can shut down a side, but the slot corner dealing with the 2-way break and being physical, basically you're a linebacker in the box against the run, is such the unique position in the league. And it's, you should pay those guys at a premium, if anything.
You would think, right? Because that's what they'll kill you in the slot. Over the years, like the last 15 years, it's the shifty guys. You put them inside.
Cooper Kupp.
They will. Cooper Kupp, Wes Welker, those dudes would kill you. All the last 15 years, right? All the way through. Edelman, they would put them in the slot and they eat you alive, right? The twitchy receivers. Well, now, Demo's twitchy. He's aggressive and he's twitchy. And like I said, we see it. He can play inside, outside. But anyway, we were just talking about, that contract coming up and whatnot and all. And I said, don't let them do that to you. They will sit there and say, you know what? You're doing great. You're a nickel corner. We'll throw you $5 million a year. You see what I'm saying? There's a big difference between pay scale on the outside and the inside. So
no doubt.
So it'll be interesting. But anyway.
To me, I'll give you a couple names. Tell me what you think. Mm-hmm. Hargrave, to me, in that matchup inside with Awasika, I think that's got to be where the Niners win. I mean, they've got to win this game against Coyote Awasika, right? In Ragnow's not 100%. Glasgow, I don't think is as good as Armstead. I think the 49ers in the interior have got to win. If they don't win in the interior, man, the Hargrave Armstead duo, probably comes to an end this offseason. Well, they got to make it happen right here and right now against this front. That's their advantage. Decker and Sewell. Bosa's a tremendous player, but Decker and Sewell could pitch a shutout in this game. That's how good those guys are.
That's why, I did my post earlier today about the predictions and whatnot. And I have Hargrave and I have Armstead getting sacks because of the reasons that you just spoke about. Young and Bosa, on a stat sheet wise, they haven't been anywhere to be found over the last, 4 games. Combined, a half a sack, and that was on Young, right? So,
what are you seeing? Part of it is, against Green Bay at least. Green Bay left the backs in and chipped them pretty consistently. Number of key situations, had a second body there waiting for Bosa.
Right, you get chips and all that. Yep.
So then all of a sudden Bosa's got to become a run defender or slide back inside and try to bat down some passes. And so there's been a couple of situations like that. There's been a few where they almost got there. I know that sounds like you're trying to give them a soft pedal excuse, but It wasn't like they had no pressures in this game, but they had no sacks. And, Shanahan talked about it this week. He's like, well, hey, look, if they're willing to devote, 7 or 8 man to the pass blocking, we'll take our chance defending their 2 or 3 eligibles with our 5 defenders. And, I see exactly what he means. I mean, to me, the big point in this game is you can't let Gibbs have the chunk yardage monster plays and just turn it into his personal playground. He's a superstar player, and he's just young, and he's going to be one of the best players in the league in the next couple of years. And same with Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra, I don't think the Niners have a corner. I mean, I think Diamador's got the best chance to shut down Amon-Ra of any of the Niner corners, including Mooney. And that will be interesting to me, who's on Amon-Ra, because Amon-Ra is they're bigger guys, but his route running and his reps that he's got with Goff, he's throwing it to spots with anticipation, little laser stop routes, and you can't stop that. I mean, you cannot stop Amon-Ra with as good a player as he is from going down 7-8 yards, doing a little shake, turning around, and Goff knows exactly which direction he's going, and the ball's right there. I mean, that's like nearly impossible to defend. So they're going to have to get some rush in Goff's face, or this game is going to be very frustrating, I think. Because I think, Amon-Ra, Goff and Amon-Ra are really, really locked in. And Jamison Williams is a home run hitter with massive speed. So they could go up top a couple times with him just to try to keep the Niners, honest and kind of defense stretched out. This is going to be in a very difficult cover for the 49ers pass defense. The way Laporta's a superstar receiver, has been all the way since high school.
I'm telling you right now, sorry to cut you off.
No.
They're going to put Laporta. If these guys did their film review, they're going to put Laporta over the top of Lenoir just because of the height advantage. Okay. So you're going to split out Brown out wide, put him on Charvarius, and then they're going to put Laporta up against Demo. You got the height advantage. Now, he's not – I think he's like 2 or 3 inches shorter than Waller, but we all remember what happened 2 years ago, right, against the Raiders. Waller, Demo matchup. Demo was all over him like flying on shit. The problem was the height advantage. So I think they're going to –
Demo's a better player since then. He's a stronger, more sudden, more aggressive player.
Well, here's the thing, though. Again, if you watched him last year, Demo, like it was just more about confidence. He was always in position and coverage, okay? He was mossed a few times. And if you watch that game against Raiders, he was mossed twice against Waller. I mean, literally all over him, but – wingspan, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah. You can't.
They're going to try that with Laporta. They will try that matchup. I'm more concerned about Demo versus Laporta than I am against Demo against Brown, just simply because of the height advantage. That's the only reason. So I think you're going to see 2 matchups inside there that's going to be very interesting. That'll be interesting. And then Brown against Ward's going to be interesting, and they're definitely going to try Thomas. They saw what happened last week. Thomas, blaming his hand, whatever may be the case, at the bull crap. All right, just like Wilkes shot that down at the pressure.
Thomas has got to play the ball in the air with more poise than that. Yeah. You can do. It's like what I would say to him, and not that I coach DBs, but just thinking it through. It's like anything that you do is going to be better than what you did against Green Bay.
Yeah.
Anything that you do, whether you play in front, play behind, whether you try to time it, go for the pick, whether you're physical, whether you're, stay off the guy, whatever you do, it's going to be better than just wrapping a guy up and having an official go whoop, spot foul.
Turn your head around.
That's not. I want more competition than that. You got to compete better tan that, and you got to be more poised than that. I know that sounds like you're telling a guy how to play his position. He's a young player. He's a really young player. But I'll say this. He's tough. He's accountable. I've talked to him a lot this year. And, he learns from his mistakes. Right. So he's just as likely, though, to make a big play, going the other way, taking one back. Ambry's got a lot of talent. So, so I think he could – he's a key factor because – because he didn't play with poise in this last game, and he showed his youth and inexperience. What is you mentioned? Let's talk Purdy for a second. Numbers show that he doesn't have. He bounces back from his bad games. I think resiliency was a major characteristic of Garoppolo, and it definitely Purdy has that as well. What do you think it's going to look like in this game? I mean, to me, I saw a quarterback that just was out of rhythm. To me, if they can get him in a good rhythm, I think they should be able to move the ball up and down the field against this defense.
Absolutely. He's going to throw for over 300 yards. That's what I put out there earlier today. I think he's going to have 3 touchdowns, 300 yards passing. And again, it's that secondary for Detroit really isn't good. I think they're really, and I know they like to take chances with their safeties. I'd like to send them once in a while. So you're going to see some blitzes. I think that'll be a big mistake if they try that against us simply because of Kittle one-on-one matchup there. You got Ayuk one-on-one matchup there. So it'll be interesting to see how they bring pressure. Detroit, I don't know if you watched any of their pressers this past week, but that's they hinted towards bringing pressure different than the way we can. They said you're like, San Fran brings pressure with 4 guys. They're fortunate enough to have 4 down linemen that can bring pressure, where we have to bring an extra 1 or 2 guys to get that in there. So you're definitely going to see blitzes, but it's going to be up to Kyle to go ahead and exploit that secondary. And I think he will. That's why I said he's going to have over 300 yards passing. I think it's a bounce back game. I mean, Brock was thrown low, thrown behind his targets.
Wasn't a good day. Wasn't a good day for Brock. No. He needs this guy. Let me, Coach. Let me play this because this is off your Twitter. I don't know if people follow Coach, but he's a good follow on Twitter. Coach_Yak, and you got Debo here and replaying this, and this. I want to ask you about this because this to me is, I think this is going to be the matchup to watch all day. Here we go. Debo talking about C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
How do you control your emotions when you got a guy like Gardner-Johnson who work on social media?
Pay that no mind, man. He just got to come in and strap it up.
How do you control your emotions when you got a guy
it's a very quick answer.
Johnson who you guys have had that back and forth on social media?
Pay that no mind, man. He just got to come in and strap it up.
There you go. Short and sweet.
Now, I will say this.
What do you think? That's a matchup, man. That's a matchup.
I'll tell you right now. All right. So I watched the presser with Gardner as well. Okay. And
what's he saying?
He refused to talk about matchups. I mean, listen, if I was in your position and you got to interview players constantly, that's one player you do not want to interview.
CJ?
He's a miserable fuck. I'm telling you right now.
Hey, it's a defensive mentality. Sometimes guys can be tough.
Nah, there's different though. I'm telling you right now.
Okay, tell me.
He was a next question. Wasn't looking at you, talking. You know what I'm saying? Like he's
evasive.
So I'll tell you right now. You saw Debo. Debo's annoyed as well. But different. All right. So they're both annoyed. It's going to be a movie. All right, it's going to get it might come to blows. I'm telling you right now because
are we going to get Deion Sanders Bad Moon Rising? Nobody gets thrown out.
Yeah,
the way in today's game, they'll probably both get thrown out.
Oh my God, you're absolutely right. But I'm telling you right now, both of them are annoyed. You saw, I mean, like I said, I saw both pressers, and it's going to be good. So those two are going to be,
How about a pregame brawl? You get out there.
Well, we don't need it. Last time we had that was against Cleveland. Look how that game ended, right?
Yeah, it's true.
So we don't need any of that bullshit.
But you know what? What makes the game juicy is that when you tune in and the teams have already kind of brawled before the game. I mean, I can remember watching so many Miami, Florida State games, and like, by the way, in the tunnel moments ago. And then guys just throwing haymakers, and then the game's on, and it's like it does add a little juice. I mean, obviously they're playing football, and it's about football and football plays and being right with your assignments. But at some level, it's also toughest team wins. And in this particular matchup, I think the toughness factor is going to be a major factor. I think the 49ers are a pretty tough group of guys. And I think this is going to be an interesting. I think Detroit's maybe the toughest, most physical team I've seen in the league this year, with the way their O-line plays and shoots out, and the way their backs run, how hard Montgomery runs, and then defensively, C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Kirby Joseph are playing for keeps, man. Kirby Joseph took out Higbee. That was borderline one of the dirtiest plays I've seen.
He's definitely dirty.
He's dirty. I mean, he just went right to Higbee's
knee.
knees, and it's like that's a career ender. I mean, Higbee did tear the ACL on the play, and it could have been a graphic, terrible thing.
Yes,
I mean, it's such a ridiculously violent hit. You want to take hits out of the league. That guy, to me, is the guy to watch. C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Kirby Joseph, not just hitting, but hitting dirty hits, I think is one of the things to look for in that game.
Well, and what we're not talking about is McKivitz. All right, he's going to have his hands full.
No doubt.
So
how are they going to handle that? I was thinking I was thinking about that matchup going, why don't you just slide the protection to McKivitz's side and say to Trent, hey, you got Kaminsky and you got Pascal all day one-on-one. And
you're definitely going to see slide protection, obviously, and then you're going to see a lot of chips, right? Whether it's Warner or it's Kittle, whoever it is going to have to get a chip before they go out, whether it's a running back coming out of the backfield, McCaffrey, you know what I'm saying, a receiver chip. They can't let McKivitz go one-on-one, most of the game, or he's we might see another multi-sack game coming up against, you know what I'm saying, for Detroit Hutchinson. So that's a battle there. You got two things to look at on Detroit side of the ball on defense, and that's going to be one, early down rushing for us if we're able to get the run game going. Two, when we're throwing, how's McKivitz holding up? So it'll be interesting. McKivitz isn't going to have a clean sheet this week. That's not going to happen. You can see at least 3-4 pressures given up. Hopefully just one sack at most. So if that's the case, then technically he did okay. So it'll be interesting on that side of the ball for Detroit.
Would you go with Logan Ryan or would you go with Jair Brown in your mind?
Did you just see that latest tweet?
No. Let me check your.
All right. So I just posted something here. This is from the Jair Brown's Instagram story. So
this is the latest Coach Yak tweet. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. So it says, probably all Twitter, probably all so this saw this already. Thank you, God, for every moment.
Oh, wait, here we go. Let me put this up there for people to see. We'll share the screen and let people see Coach Yak's tweet here. Man, I'm glad I asked. Look at this. Were you going to let me not bring this up? All right, here we go. Coach Yak, at Coach_Yak. I've heard of that guy. From Jair Brown's IG story, it looks like he's getting his starting job back. Thank you, God, for every moment, every obstacle, all the success, all the failures. It led me here right where I want to be. We back in action. Good. That's all I got to say. Because you know what? I didn't want to be pissed about it. But when I asked Wilkes about it early in the week, I literally wanted to say at the presser, start Jair Brown over Logan Ryan. Agree? And then just be like, throw agree at the end as a question. Because, I mean, come on. I mean, last week that was despicable against Jones. That can't happen. You can't have a safety coming up in the hole and barely getting an arm on a guy. You got to have guys who show up with bad intentions and strike right. And if Jair Brown was like just some bum, it would be one thing. Jair Brown's terrific. He's like one of the great young players going forward with the Niners. Play this kid. My goodness, play this kid and don't make that mistake again. Now, here's the question I would say. Here's how I look at it. Go with Jair Brown. You got to stop Montgomery. Montgomery's a horse. You got to have some guys. This guy can hit Montgomery and knock him to the ground. So play this guy. But then if you get a big lead and all of a sudden it's, Goff in a pass mode, then you want to take him off the field at times and go with Logan Ryan because of pass coverage and a kind of an extra corner look. That's great. Do it. But let this guy deal with the running backs until this game's won. And then when they get into pass mode, then bust out Logan Ryan if you have to.
Right, if you have to, exactly. So, I mean, and I'd post something a few days ago about, I had that video up there. I put in slow motion where he whiffed on that tackle. And, there were a couple fans. Oh, here we go. You're just picking out one play out of the whole game. I said, look, the reason why Shanahan went with Logan obviously was for experience, right?
Right.
And, and then I put up the numbers, missed tackles. So, Logan Ryan has missed 4 tackles and I want to say 176 or 192 attempts. Okay. And then Jair Brown.
Rutgers kid, by the way, Jersey guy. Probably are you a big Logan Ryan guy? Did I? Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm
okay.
not. Although my wife did go to Rutgers and my son's about to go to Rutgers. So
I was like that program, solid program.
Yeah, they're very good actually. So, but anyway, Brown's missed tackles. I think he's got 6. He's got 6 missed tackles on a season, but in like 390 attempts. See what I'm saying?
But Brown's an alpha though.
Yeah,
he's a true. Yeah. He is the future leader of your secondary. Get him out there. I would ride and die with him for the next 2 games over some guy that you called who was good 3 years ago, and he's 32 years old, and he was on a freaking cruise.
Yep.
Go with Jair Brown.
Absolutely. So, and listen, I mean, why else would he put that on a storyline? You're not going to put that back in action if you're not starting, right?
Right. He's starting.
He technically was back in action last week, but on the sideline.
I know, but they wanted to see here. I think last week they looked at Green Bay and all those weapons and said, "Man, we need as many cover guys as we can have." These guys, they got a bunch of receivers. And then in this game, I think, man, you look at Montgomery and Gibbs, and you're like, "Hey, it's all hands on deck." If you're a hitter, linebacker, if you're good against the run, I would have. I mean, if it was me, I would have a guy like Jalen Graham active because I really think he's a star young player. But that seems to be a tad more aggressive than they want to be. They're much more Flanagan Fowles and the other guys and go with the special teams linebackers. I don't think they've done, Graham. All I'll say is this: when Graham and Winters finally, play, I think people are going to wonder, couldn't they have played a few snaps this year? You know what I mean? Because these guys are really good.
They like the red shirt, though, tonight.
They like the red shirt. They love their development. So we'll see. Hey, what's to argue right there at where they're at? What do you think of all the people ripping Purdy? I mean, you might as well weigh in on this, Coach. We're only going to be here for another 15 minutes or so with the coach, but what do you think? I mean, it's not really a football topic, but I do feel almost obligated to ask you because everybody wants to talk about the quarterback. It doesn't. I don't think it impacts him at all, other than adding a chip. So all I would say is bring it on. Keep talking. If I was Shanahan, I'd be thrilled that there's all these people saying, you know what, it's this guy and everybody else. Because I know that that's not the case, but it's never bad to have your quarterback on edge.
No, and that's the thing. I don't think it's really going to affect his gameplay at all. He's not really like a social media guy like some of the guys we have on a team that are on there that see everything. So, I mean, I don't think it bothers him. I mean, he will, he'll downplay it, in a pressure or whatever like that. But I mean, does he know what's going on? Yeah, I'm sure the players are mentioning stuff to him, but I don't think it's listen, the media, just like people on Twitter, everybody wants to be right. Okay. So if you're sitting there and you're bad mouthing Purdy most of the year, right? And then he has a game like he did last week. It's like, yes, all right, I'm right. Look, see, he's, you know what I'm saying? So that's, they got to spout off. And then what's going to happen is Purdy's going to throw for 300 yards or whatever, multiple touchdown passes. And they're going to say, well, he's supposed to do that because he got talent all around him. Right. So it's really, he's really not in a win-win situation, Purdy. He's really, the only way.
Well,
And
he's in a just win situation. That's really
I
it.
mean, he's
Just
in
win.
but you know what? Listen, there's no way he can really win. Even if he wins the Super Bowl, well, he's got nine studs on his team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
but
we
I don't
all
know.
play.
There's respect that comes with that.
There's no way around it. Well, you know what? Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. Oh,
Sure. I mean, if he evaporated a year
Right.
later, yeah.
So
But I mean, Nick Foles was great in that Super Bowl. He just winning. I mean,
oh my
he was
God,
phenomenal.
Yeah,
I remember Nick Foles. I was watching Stanford, Arizona one night when he completed like 17 passes in a row. I mean, that guy gets hot, and it's like, whoa, watch out. You know, he's played some amazing football, and he got into a zone, man. He got into a zone.
Yeah,
It was pretty awesome to watch, actually. What do you think about defending Gibbs and Laporta? I mean, Gibbs and Laporta last week combined for 17 receptions against Tampa. This is who they want to go to move the chains.
Of course. It's.
I mean, how do you see the Niners matching up?
It's gonna be tough. Like we already talked about the Laporta matchups. You're gonna see him inside with Demo. You're gonna see that happen there. Gibbs, thank God we got this linebacker speed. So I don't think Gibbs is going to kill us out of the backfield. He'll catch some passes, but as long as Dre's matching his speed sideline to sideline, you know what I'm saying? We're fine there. I don't think he's not going to gash us downfield. Obviously, Gibbs. He's not going to be a type that makes one miss and then picks up 20 plus yards on us. I don't. We have our linebackers we'll clean that up. I'm just, like I said, I'm more concerned about the Laporta matchup and seeing where he's lined up and who's covering him. So, that's why, like I said, I think I had 31-21. A couple fans were like, oh, Detroit's not going to score 20 against us. Look, man, I've heard that all year. Every time I put 20 or more points, you get fans out there, oh, they're not going to score 20. Listen, they can move the ball against us. They can. All right, this isn't the 85 Bears defense. We got a nice defense, but it's by no means elite lockdown, hold you to 3 or 7 points. That's just, they're gonna move the ball on us. It's just that.
I mean, he's not as good on the road. At home, 70%, 19 touchdowns, 6 picks at home. On the road, 64.8% completion percentage, 11 touchdowns, 6 picks.
Did you watch that Detroit-Baltimore game earlier in the year? I don't know if you watched it. I did.
Oh, yeah. Detroit-Baltimore I did see, yes.
Okay, so I watched that whole game just due to fantasy football purposes. All right, Brown for fantasy football. All right, so I'm watching these. And I'll tell you right now, Detroit is not the same on grass. And Baltimore beat the piss out of them. I mean, that game was – Detroit – I think the last 2 drives, they moved the ball just because at that point the game was a blowout. And Detroit literally had their starters in. Like, that's how Campbell goes. He doesn't sit there and say, you know what, we're getting beat by 4 touchdowns. You're out. He's going to get you in there no matter what the score is. So Detroit's going to look a little different. My concern, obviously, was the Laporta matchup. Gibbs is going to be an issue. We got to shut down. We got to contain edge. Our edge, you know what I'm saying? Our edge, we got to contain that. If we get contained, because guess what? I'll tell you right now, we didn't get the containment against Green Bay. You saw those tosses, right? You saw Green getting his shoulders straight.
And the run fits, they were disastrous in the run fits.
And it's raining. You would think when it's raining out there, you know what I'm saying? It would be a little bit better for us to stop the run. And people sit there, well, you know what? It was only that one long run. Look, if you go back and watch that game, they were moving the ball, at times on the ground against us. So, I am concerned about the run game a little bit. And if we're not able to control that run game, then it's going to open up the passing game. So it'll be interesting. Both have got to do a better job of containment. Same with Young. Our corners have to come down and contain, obviously, our containment corners. So it'll be interesting in the run game. I don't know, even if we're able to contain the outside, you're going to have Montgomery running, off tackle. He's going to be pounding the B gap, and he's done that pretty well this year. I don't know what his yards per carry is through the B gap, but again, he's a truck. So it'll be interesting. Again, I mean, do I think it's going to be a blowout? No, but I also don't think Detroit's going to be able to stop our offense. I just think our defense is a lot better than Detroit, so that's a difference in this game here. 31.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. We'll let you go, but how about this? You look at Goff when he plays outdoors. In the Dome this year, 70% completions, 24 touchdowns, 6 picks. Outdoors, 63%, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and a much smaller yards per attempt average as well. So
it had a lot to do with 2 games outdoors, and I watched them both. I was forced to watch the Detroit-Chicago game in Chicago. And I'll tell you right now, he was throwing balls at their feet. It looked like Brock Purdy in the rain is what Goff looked like in Chicago. I watched that game as well. And those 2 bad games are going to kill his numbers stat-wise. So, yeah, I believe it. And again, they got to come here. So,
it's all about Goff. It's all about Goff. Yeah. You got to pressure Goff. Yeah. And the Niners pass defense led the NFL in interceptions this year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, don't forget that. I mean, the Niners will give up some pass plays, but they'll also get their hands on some footballs, as we saw last week against Green Bay. And if you take it away in the playoffs, typically you want to win in the playoffs, take the ball away. I mean, that's really it. Take the ball away.
And like you said earlier, Hargrave and Armstead, they got to be able to push that pocket in, get pressure in Goff's face, and then we should be in good shape. So
who's your wild card factor? Is there any player that you look at in this game and say, my good friend Kyle Posey on Niners Nation did an article today, 3 players who need to step up against the Lions. And I love Kyle because he's a good football guy.
He's great. He's a great football mind, Kyle. He really is.
Kyle's good. And he's got Chase Young. You look at, Chase Young, I think he's had a 9.1. What his PFF grade was like 9.1%. It was not good. Kinlaw graded highest at 37.5. Then Armstead, then Bosa, then Chase, then Gregory, then Hargrave. I mean, Hargrave's really the guy. He's got to step up because he's the guy getting paid a ton.
Yep.
But Chase Young was only doubled on 12% of his pass rushes during the year. So it's not like he's getting doubled all the time either. No, so he's got Chase Young, Ambry Thomas, and Logan Ryan. If I said to you 3 players that you think need to step up for the Niners in this game, who are you going with?
On that side of the ball right there, we're just talking about defense, right? If we're talking about defense, then Chase is absolutely 1. All right. Ambry Thomas is going to be 2. And, I'm not going to say Hargrave. We've been talking about that constantly. You know what I'm going to go with Armstead. All right. Armstead, he came back last week. Wasn't much of a factor. Okay. I think he's really going to be able to eat in the backfield. So I think he's going to be disruptive. So I'm going with those 3 right there. You got Chase, Armstead, and then Ambry Thomas. Ambry Thomas is going to be huge in this game. If we have like I said, they're going to test him early on. So if we don't have a duplicate of what he did last week, then we're going to be fine. We'll be fine there. So,
yeah, Ambry and Lenore would be great. Great calls. I think Hargrave has a big day. I think Jair Brown has a good day.
Ooh.
I really do.
I hope, man. You know what? This might be the game here that says, we got something in secondary for long haul. He proved it in a big game in the playoffs. So, let's hope to God that Jair gets to start at safety, and 2, he steps in and makes plays. I mean, look at him, right? He's a ball hawk. He's a ball hawk, man. He made he got 2 picks, several PBUs. So, I mean, he's shown that he can make plays, in the run game and obviously in coverage as well. So if he can step up here, it would be huge for his career early on and confidence for him as well as Wilkes and keeping him out there. That's another one.
Good stuff, Coach. We're going to end it right here. Thanks to everybody. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., the coach will be in the house, and that's our other buddy, the coach, and we do our Saturday show. And, of course, Coach Yak does a great job on Twitter, And Coach, promote what you got going on, man. Let people know what kind of content you're putting out there.
I have nothing other than Twitter. That's where you'll find me. You'll see me all over the timeline, whether it's you're following me or somebody else is retweeting, whatever the hell I flip up there. So that's about it.
Appreciate it. And the last one's here. We've got Todd Jersey says has become a YouTube member. Thank you, Todd. And then Cole Wilson says Brock Purdy's first running back in college was David Montgomery, then Breece Hall, and now CMC. What a commodity for Brock. How would you rank them? CMC would be 1. Montgomery, I would take 2. Breece Hall's a burner, though. I like Breece Hall's talent.
Nice. Breece is nice. If he can stay healthy, I'm taking CMC, Hall, and then Montgomery. If Hall can stay healthy.
Yeah, Hall's not been healthy,
Nah.
and I've always loved Montgomery. I just love that build, man. 5'10", 220. I mean, those guys that's a running back build. And Cryptic says 49ers identity all season was getting ahead and winning by 14 points or more, or losing, only scoring 20 or less. Will the Niners get back to that? Then he says, this Detroit defense is bad. Eagles bad minus the run. I don't know. This Detroit defense is tough, and they cause turnovers.
Yeah, they're physical,
and there's some great individual players on it, but it's not a great defense for sure. I think the Niners are gonna win this game. I like 31-20. I've got an 11-point win, but I think it's going to be more like 31-13, and then maybe a late score by the Lions to wrap up at 31-20. Coach, good stuff. Thanks for coming on, and we enjoy following you on Twitter. And thanks to everybody for jumping in. MarinAutoglass.com, Underdog Fantasy, and of course, we are brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Thanks to Damon and Mary. Go get Pig and a Pickle. You will not regret it. It's fantastic. Get the brisket chili. Have a great night, everybody. Go Niners, and thanks for tuning in to the Krueger Show.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful.